A potential ruling in the nation's highest court could have a major impact on millions of Americans' retirement funds. Supreme Court justices have agreed to rule on the requirements for lawsuits that accuse companies of offering workers imprudent investment options in their retirement plans.
Justices say they will hear an appeal from two former Intel Corp employees over the company's allocation of worker retirement money to hedge funds and private equity funds. A federal appeals court threw out those claims.
The clash will affect the rights of millions of Americans who participate in workplace retirement programs, including 401k plans. The court's ruling will shape how vulnerable sponsoring companies are to being sued when investment options perform poorly.
All right, we want to bring back in our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rose. I think everybody's ears perked up when they said 401k because most of us have them through our employer. Khalif, what's at stake here?
Your money. It's really, this case goes about a couple things. It's how and when people's retirement money is invested and when workers can bring and when they're allowed to sue. This case has been 6 years. So the wheels of justice take a long time. I've said that before. This case actually has been to the Supreme Court on another type of issue regarding this same case, went back to the lower courts, and now it's in front of the Supreme Court again to fine tune on a couple of things. But before I go to that, I want to hit on a couple of points. A fiduciary, and that's the key point to this case. They have a couple of roles when they're talking about managing your money. It's to be careful, to make smart choices, and to put workers' interests first. I mean, and that's in a nutshell what ERISA says, that Employee Retirement Income Security Act. It lays out a number of rules that these fiduciaries are supposed to do. And this is what the workers are saying. They're saying, you guys didn't follow the rules. You weren't able and did not invest my money in a manner that was careful, that was smart. You put my money at risk, and because of that, I didn't gain as much as I should have gained in that process. The lower court set a standard, and it was called the meaningful benchmark. It says that you can't just say that the car was bad, but you have to go find a comparable car and say, look, this car was bad that they bought me. They should have bought this car. Making it about investments, they should not have invested here. They should have invested here and show a comparable investment. The court's going to decide, is that standard that the lower court created, is that being applied properly? Is that even the right standard? That's what's at issue. The Supreme Court isn't going to decide the underlying issue. They're going to decide, is this standard, that meaningful benchmark, something that courts should be using? And if it is, have they been applying it properly?
The fact that the Supreme Court's even taking this up when they already have a busy docket, I mean, that shows something that you know they want to weigh on this matter. Could whatever they decide change how employees in the future are able to challenge what's going on with their investment?
Oh, 100%. If you change that meaningful benchmark, if I don't have to go out and find a better investing alternative, it makes it easier for me to say, hey, you lost money. That's a grounds for me to bring a claim. Right now, the standard is not just that I lost, but find me something else that they could have done at that time that would have been a better investment. I think it's closer, that standard is closer to a medical malpractice claim. It's not just that I was injured, but did the doctor follow the standard of care that other doctors within that field would have done? That's what the standard of care for, the standard of review is for a malpractice claim. It's the same here. You're bringing a lawsuit against this investor, against this fiduciary, and you just can't say, hey, I lost money. You failed to invest my money properly. The court wants you to point to, you as the plaintiff, to go do the research to find other investment opportunities that they should have went into.
Well, isn't there sort of a implied risk when you are investing that could be a defense for this, saying, hey, like you agreed to put your money out here and what happens in the market happens?
I think that is a true point. As someone that is extremely active in the market, I understand that there is an implied risk when I'm investing. But when you have someone that is a fiduciary that is investing your money, you pick different levels of investments. And you're saying, am I going to be moderate? Am I going to be aggressive? And you are hoping that in their aggression, they are still within the reasonable standard of what other investors would be doing during that time. So if they are overly aggressive, if they are going outside the risk standards, you're going to have to go be able to point to examples of why they did that. But I totally agree. That would be their defense. If I'm on the other side, if I'm defending this, I'm saying, hey, you recognize that there is an implied risk, because on the upswing, you're happy when I go and exceed your investment expectations, but you can't have it the other way and say, now I lost and now it's my fault.
Khalif, we've got about 20 seconds left. Do you think this will succeed at the Supreme Court?
I think this standard needs to be checked and challenged. I mean, it is an extremely high burden for a person to be successful for me to have to be able to point to other examples. I should be able to say, based on this investment, and be able to look at what the universal standard is without going to be able to have to point to to in specific examples of why they did that. So I think that they will at least review how that is being applied. Now, to the underlying case, this specific one with Intel and these employees, I'm not sure if they will be successful, but I do think the court wants to review how this standard is applied.
All right, more to follow up. Khalif, thanks for today. Appreciate that.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.